The year is 2026. High above Europe, the Swiss Alps stretch across the horizon, their jagged peaks still crowned in white. For centuries, these mountains have stood as symbols of endurance and natural beauty, drawing travelers, scientists, and dreamers alike. Their snow-capped summits have inspired legends and shaped cultures, their icy slopes a playground for winter sports and a lifeline for communities below. From afar, the Alps still look eternal, their peaks slicing the sky with a sense of timelessness. At sunrise, the first light paints the mountains in gold and pink, and it's easy to believe that nothing here ever changes. But this is only part of the story. Up close, the truth is stark. The once reliable white blanket is vanishing. The snowpack, which for generations arrived early and lingered late into spring, now comes later each year and disappears far too soon. Where thick drifts once covered the slopes, only patchy remnants remain, exposing bare rock and fragile soil beneath. The rhythm of the seasons is shifting, and the mountains are changing before our eyes. The glaciers, ancient rivers of ice that have carved these valleys for millennia, are retreating at a pace never seen before. Each year, they shrink further, their blue-white mass giving way to stone and gravel. What once seemed immovable is now slipping away, melting into memory. Markers from just a few decades ago now stand far from the ice they once touched. These silent witnesses tell a story of loss, their dates etched in metal, a timeline of retreat. Where tourists once stood on solid ice, they now walk across dry ground, the glacier, a distant shimmer. This isn't just about lost scenery or fading postcards. The changes here ripple far beyond the mountaintops. The snowpack feeds rivers that wind through valleys, sustains lush meadows, and supports entire ecosystems. It provides water for millions of people, irrigates crops, and powers hydroelectric dams. When the snowpack shrinks, so does the lifeblood of the region. Its decline is a warning, echoing louder each year. Scientists measure the snow, track the melt, and sound the alarm. The changes are visible not just in data, but in the landscape itself. Streams running dry, plants blooming out of season, animals searching for new habitats. The Alps are losing their identity, their icy heart melting away. The exposed rock tells a story of a world warming faster than ever before, and of a future that is uncertain for all who depend on these mountains. This story is about more than mountains. It's about water, life, and a planet in rapid transformation. The fate of the Alps is tied to the fate of countless species, communities, and even distant cities that rely on their water. In the chapters ahead, we'll explore what a snowpack is, why it matters so deeply, and what's driving this dramatic change. We'll meet the scientists racing to understand the new normal, and the people whose lives are being reshaped by the loss of snow and ice. The fate of the Alps is a global story, one that asks us all, what will we do as the ice disappears? The answer will shape not just these mountains, but the future of our planet. The snowpack is the Alps' frozen reservoir, a vast glistening blanket of snow that stretches across the mountain peaks and valleys each winter. It's more than just a beautiful landscape, it's a vital part of the region's water cycle, quietly storing water in the form of snow and ice. Think of it as a natural bank account for water, where every snowfall is a deposit, and every melt is a withdrawal. The snowpack acts as a buffer, collecting precipitation during the cold months, and holding it in reserve until it's needed most. Each winter, snow piles up, layer by layer, gradually building a thick, dense mass. As new snow falls, it compresses the older layers beneath, squeezing out air and transforming fluffy flakes into a compact, icy structure. This process creates a complex, multi-layered snowpack, with each layer telling the story of storms, temperature swings, and wind. When spring arrives and temperatures rise, the snowpack begins to melt. But this isn't a sudden event. The snowpack releases its water slowly, over weeks and months, feeding streams, rivers, and valleys below. This gradual melt is crucial, providing a steady supply of water during the dry summer months. The water from melting snow sustains Alpine farms, fills reservoirs that supply drinking water to millions, and powers hydroelectric dams that generate clean energy for the region. Without this steady release, communities downstream would face water shortages, especially during hot, dry periods. Over many years, this process gives birth to glaciers, massive rivers of ice that flow slowly down the mountainsides. Glaciers are formed when more snow accumulates in winter than melts in summer, allowing the snowpack to deepen and compress year after year. As the snowpack thickens, it transforms into firn, a dense, granular snow, and eventually into solid glacial ice. Gravity pulls this ice downhill, carving valleys and shaping the landscape as it moves. The glaciers of the Alps are often called Europe's water towers. They feed some of the continent's greatest rivers, like the Rhine and the Danube, providing water for millions of people, agriculture and industry far beyond the mountains themselves. But today, this ancient rhythm is being disrupted. The snowpack is becoming thinner and glaciers are shrinking at an alarming rate. Warmer winters mean less snow accumulates, and hotter summers cause faster melting. As a result, the Alps are losing their ability to store and gradually release water. Rivers run lower in summer, reservoirs struggle to refill, and the entire system is under threat. Understanding the snowpack, how it forms, changes, and melts, is the first step to grasping the crisis now unfolding in the Alps. Scientists are racing to study these changes, hoping to find solutions before this vital resource disappears. Alpine glaciers have always changed, but never this fast. For thousands of years, these rivers of ice have ebbed and flowed, shaping the mountains and valleys of Europe. But today, the pace of change is unlike anything seen before. The glaciers that once seemed eternal are now vanishing before our eyes, their ancient ice melting away at a rate that is both astonishing and alarming. In the last decade, the Alps have lost ice at record speed. What was once a slow retreat is now a sprint. Each summer brings new records for melting, with entire sections of glaciers disappearing in just a few months. Scientists who have studied these glaciers for decades are shocked by how quickly the landscape is changing. The Alps, once crowned with thick gleaming ice, are now marked by bare rock and shrinking snowfields. The Aletsch Glacier, the Alps' largest, lost over 100 meters in a single year. This massive river of ice, stretching for more than 20 kilometers, is now retreating faster than ever before. Where there was once a solid wall of ice, there are now exposed rocks and deep crevasses. The glacier's surface is thinning and its edges are collapsing, revealing the scars of rapid change. Old photos show valleys once filled with ice, now barren and exposed. The transformation is dramatic. Lush meadows and rocky slopes have replaced what was once a frozen world. Generations ago, these valleys echoed with the sound of cracking ice and flowing meltwater. Today, they are silent, the ice gone, leaving only memories and photographs as evidence of what once was. Glaciers are thinning, flattening, and becoming dangerously unstable. As the ice melts from above and below, the structure of the glacier weakens, deep crevasses open up, and the once solid surface becomes riddled with cracks. This instability makes the glaciers hazardous for climbers and hikers, and increases the risk of sudden collapses and avalanches. In Italy, the Marmolada glacier's collapse in 2022 killed 11 hikers, a stark warning. The disaster shocked the world and highlighted the dangers of a warming climate. As glaciers become more unstable, the risk to people and communities in the Alps grows. The tragedy on Marmolada is a reminder that these changes are not just environmental, they have real, human consequences. Meltwater seeps into cracks, destabilizing the ice and triggering avalanches. As temperatures rise, more water flows through the glaciers, acting like a wedge that pries the ice apart. This process accelerates melting and increases the likelihood of sudden, catastrophic events. The mountains are becoming more unpredictable, and the risks are growing with each passing year. Popular trails are closing, and small glaciers are vanishing entirely. So-called zombie ice, doomed to melt away. Hikers and mountaineers are finding their favorite routes blocked or gone, as the landscape transforms. Some glaciers are now so thin and fragmented that they can no longer sustain themselves, destined to disappear completely within a generation. This is a geological transformation on a human timescale. What once took centuries or millennia is now happening in mere decades. The Alps are being reshaped before our eyes, a powerful reminder of the speed and scale of climate change. The story of these glaciers is not just about ice, it's about the future of our planet and the choices we make today. The Alps are warming at twice the global average. Winters are shorter, with more rain and less snow, even at high altitudes. The snowpack melts faster, exposing dark rock that absorbs heat and accelerates melting, a vicious feedback loop. Intense summer heat waves push the freezing line above even the highest peaks, causing relentless thaw. Dust and pollution, including Saharan sand, settle on the snow, darkening it and speeding up the melt. All these forces combine, creating a perfect storm for alpine ice. Human activity is the root cause of alpine warming. Burning fossil fuels releases greenhouse gases, trapping heat and raising global temperatures. Every car, plane, and factory adds to the problem. Deforestation and industrial agriculture worsen it, while local tourism infrastructure disrupts habitats and consumes energy. Artificial snowmaking, now essential for many resorts, uses vast amounts of water and power, ironically fueling the very warming it tries to counter. The shrinking glaciers are a monument to the unintended consequences of our modern lives. Recognizing our role isn't about blame, it's about responsibility and the power to change. Melting glaciers threaten water supplies for millions. Meltwater once kept rivers flowing through dry summers. Now, as glaciers vanish, that source is disappearing. Agriculture suffers. Crops in northern Italy wither without alpine water. Shipping on rivers like the Rhine is disrupted by low water levels. Hydroelectric power, once reliable, faces shortages as reservoirs run dry. Tourism, the backbone of the alpine economy, is in crisis. Ski seasons shrink, resorts struggle, and summer hazards increase. The very landscape that draws visitors is changing, and the ripple effects touch every aspect of alpine life. The Alps' unique wildlife is in peril. As temperatures rise, plants and animals adapted to cold are squeezed out by newcomers from lower elevations. The rock ptarmigan and mountain hare, camouflaged for snow, are left exposed as snow cover vanishes. Alpine flowers like edelweiss are outcompeted by aggressive lowland species. Even tiny glacier fleas face extinction as their icy habitat disappears. The loss of these species is a loss of the Alps' biological heritage, a silent crisis unfolding alongside the melting ice. Scientists warn that, without drastic action, the Alps will lose most of their glaciers by century's end. Over 90% of alpine ice could vanish by 2100 if emissions continue unchecked. Small glaciers may disappear within 2 decades. Even giants like the Alps will be shadows of their former selves by 2050. The landscape will be transformed. Bare rock, unstable lakes, and permanent changes to the water cycle. Peak river flows from melting will soon give way to chronic shortages. Adaptation is possible, but expensive and limited. The message is urgent. The fate of the Alps depends on choices we make now. The challenge is immense, but hope remains. We can't reverse all the melting, but we can slow it and protect what's left. The key is rapid, global cuts to greenhouse gas emissions. Local innovations, like covering glaciers with reflective blankets, offer temporary relief and symbolize our determination. Communities are adapting, investing in flood warnings, water-saving tech, and new tourism models. The Alps' future depends on our collective choices, embracing renewables, demanding climate action, and reimagining how we live. The mountains are warning us. Saving them means safeguarding our planet's future.